Hi everyone, welcome to the February edition of Wavelength. It was an historic occasion as the LCRA Board of Directors met in January. For the first time in its 63-year history, an African American sits as board chair of the Lower Colorado River Authority. I.O. Coleman Jr. has represented Wharton County on the LCRA board since 1993. He is a graduate of Prairie View A&M University and works as a staff environmental chemist at Celanese Limited in Bay City. This was his first official meeting as the new board chair.
Certainly I'm honored to serve as chair of this board of directors for 1998. I thank you for having elected me. I'm really honored. In 1993, a significant barrier fell in the state of Texas and also here with LCRA when I was appointed to be appointed to the board of directors by Governor Richards and also confirmed in 1993. This past December, another significant barrier fell when I was elected to serve as chairman of the board of directors. Again, I'm very honored and I'm very pleased. Thank you very much. I look forward to working with all of you. I look forward to working with you individually and also collectively. And my discussions with Chair Luxinger, Mark Rose, and others, I was told that we will have a successful year if nothing blows up. So we're looking forward to a successful year. And certainly if I were to dedicate this to anybody, it would be to my parents, my family. I'm sure my mom and dad are somewhere in heaven smiling down on us today. And they remember this old hard-headed boy that wouldn't get his lesson, but they saw fit to educate all of their children to ensure that hard work, grit, and determinations were key to successes. So we're just happy to be here today. Without further ado, we'll get busy.
The board also elected Peter Penkoffs of Austin as vice chair and Steve Rivers of Bastrop as secretary.
Well, I'll begin by wishing everybody a Happy New Year. 98 has started with a bang. I want to thank the folks at Ferguson Power Plant for this red jacket. Don't know where they got the idea that I wear the color red, but this jacket was part of their recognition for having achieved 1 million person hours, work hours without a lost time accident. That is a tremendous accomplishment. I also managed to get a jacket from Tensco because they reached the same goal. Those are tremendous accomplishments, and for the folks at Tensco, I wear that jacket just as much as I wear this one, and I appreciate both of them. And I can't say that I've done anything to earn them, but I'm going to keep them. Hats off to you for a tremendous accomplishment and an important one. Moving on to another subject, sending out this month an organizational chart with a few changes on it. I consider us to be taking the next step in making sure that our organizational structure fits the spirit of what people are talking about in the deregulated world that we're already a part of. And by that I mean the wholesale deregulated world. I don't know if ultimate deregulation is going to happen or not. We'll just have to see what the legislature does on that one. But wholesale energy power in Texas is already deregulated. That market is becoming more competitive. There's more concern than ever about who manages the transmission grid and what all that means. And so as we looked at it, we realized that we needed to clean a few things up. So when you see this organizational chart, you'll see that Vision Energy, which is now headed by Bill Freeman, and I'd like to point out that Bill started many of those programs years ago when he managed the fuels area. Vision Energy now has a part of it fuels, management, and energy services. That's all integrated into that one group, and you will see Vision Energy as a part of our GenCo operations. Dudley Pilon heads up GenCo operations. He has all the same authority, duty, power, and love for me that he had before. It's just now you will see in the GenCo line of business, Vision Energies and GenCo operations. When you look at Tensco, you'll see that it is a transmission services only. And there you'll see Jim Briley heading up operations, and John Moore, who's come on board to help us with business development and some co-management activities of Tensco operations. You'll see those two business areas. The last change that you will see is over in the community services side, and that Missy Mandel and Donna Brazier's groups have been consolidated into one group, so community services is now a consolidated team led by Donna Brazier. Missy, I've asked her to focus for at least the next 2 years solely on governmental relations and local community affairs. Clearly, with all the legislation up in Washington, with Senate activities here in the Texas Senate, and I think some anticipation of either regulatory or legislative discussion at a serious level of deregulation, we all need Missy and her crew to concentrate full-time on that response. Let me wrap up by talking a little bit about the rest of this year and how I think we're doing. It's a great team of both employees and managers, and yes, we live in the world of doing more with less, but I also think we do it better than anybody in this country, and our reputation is sound. We just did a recent business survey that tells us that our role in the community is well known and well accepted. We have a lot of important work in the area of WaterCo, both in expansion of our water and wastewater businesses, developing that line of business, and fixing up the dams, which is critical to the success of all of Central Texas. Neat things happening in the world of our parks, and we're responding to our changes in the world of deregulation. Genesis project finished up maybe with less of a bang than some people thought. I know that we certainly talked about some fairly dramatic action, but then when you look at it, maybe it hit you as not being quite so dramatic. Kind of makes sense for us to look at expanding our transmission services. The whole world of transmission is different in Texas today. Transmission is now everybody's transmission system, and it's fully regulated by the PUC, and it's always going to be regulated. And now we had a recent court decision that reinforced that we're going to have a postage stamp rate. So what that means is, like you send a letter to Bastrop or a letter to Boston, it's the same 32 cents. Well, there's going to be more of a universal rate for transmission. So I don't want to say our customer, but really our focus in some ways is changing on transmission, in that we have to be just as responsive to the other users of that system as our 44 customers. So therefore, why not look at doing some transmission services outside of that old line if that produces some income for us and makes us stronger, and particularly if that income, then that profit, use that word, or that contribution, could be used to fund the reduction of debt. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In the GenCo world, that's our world, and that's the world of our 44 customers. We're going to be here, and we're going to fulfill all the terms of our contract. What we're really going to be talking about in the world of GenCo is if we build any more generation, whether it's a peaker or another base load unit, how are we going to finance that, and are we maybe going to reach some different partnerships to do that? But in no way are we abandoning our role in the generation business. Our generation assets are not for sale. Vision Energy is not for sale. We're not going to abandon our customers. We just may do the next round of generation either with a different kind of contract, frankly, a stronger contract in order to be able to get it financed, or with some partnerships with our customers. And I think we have a great future in the world of generation, a great future in the world of transmission. You know, we're survivors, and we're going to do that. Our contribution to our communities is immense, and I think we'll prove that once again in 1998. That's certainly going to be our challenge, not as competitors, but as contributors, and not because we have to, but because it's fun. If I could set any challenge for us to reach in terms of a new culture or a new way to do business, I would say to you that we need to find a way to be lean and worthy contributors to the communities that we serve because it's fun. It's fun to be an organization that's known as the best. It's fun to be an organization that can take a lot of pride in its product, and its product is sold at a better quality and a better price than anybody else's. Sounds a little corny, but that's the world we live in. That's the appropriate role for a public service, a governmental agency to play. Not as a competitor, but as a contributor. We reach that mark, we'll be here for many, many years to come. Here's to a good 1998.
You know, in almost 15 years of producing Wavelength programs, I don't think we've ever seen a more energetic groundbreaking. These young adults are uncovering the first scoops of dirt for the McKinney-Ruff's Wilderness Preserve and Science Center. It's here on these 1,300 acres of tranquil riverfront land where scientists and kids alike will be able to slip away from the city to study and learn about land, water, and animals, and perhaps more importantly, how man can coexist with them in today's society.
The site has some incredible biological diversity. The state of Texas is recognized as having 10 ecosystems. 4 of those ecosystems come together on this site. There are over 200 species of mammals, birds, and reptiles that have been cataloged on the property. There's a tremendous diversity of vegetation. The site itself has the westernmost stand of loblolly pines in the entire state of Texas.
It took a tremendous amount of hard work to put this land into public hands. First, the LCRA sold inaccessible lake property to help pay for the land, and now part of the cost of the education center is being paid for by businesses that have located on the preserve's Highway 71 frontage. When it is complete in the fall of 1998, the education center will be a key component of the McKinney-Ruff's project. But anyone who's been out here will tell you that the real attraction is the incredible natural beauty.
Our real purpose in acquiring this site was to preserve what truly is a unique piece of property on the Colorado River that affords a tremendous diversity of both historic, cultural, and biological educational opportunities for schools and universities.
Max Starkey Dam. Completed in 1951, Starkey was the last of the 6 Highland Lakes dams built by the LCRA. One unique feature of Starkey Dam is its floodgates. Unlike most gates, which are lifted up by a hoist, these so-called bear trap gates fold down to allow the water to flow over them. One problem with these gates is that dam personnel have to walk out on the structure and physically unlock them before they can be lowered. Not an easy task, especially in bad weather conditions or at night. To help solve this access problem, the folks at Dams and Hydro dreamed up the idea of a suspension bridge spanning the lake from Powerhouse to the far pier of the dam. This bridge was designed by the engineering firm Jaster Quintanilla of Austin, but all of the construction work was done in-house by a team of employees from Hydro and the Smithville Railcar facility.
Those folks have helped us work on floodgates at Mansfield Dam. They built the bulkhead, the floating bulkhead for us. We've been very closely aligned over the last few years. And they were the likely choice or the likely persons we'd want to approach to do the installation.
The new bridge will also allow operators much quicker access to all areas of the dam.
Sometimes, if you'll notice on the gates, you have water right up to the top of them. With any wave action whatsoever, you can have waves that actually lapping over the top of the gates, and you only have a little, probably 10 to 12 inch platform to walk on. So by putting in a suspension bridge, they're able to go right from the powerhouse without ever having to crawl down on the structure and to get to where they need to go safely.
The total budget for the suspension bridge was $150,000, an amount much less than those projected for an outside contractor to do the work. This project is a great example of LCRA teamwork, not only within departments, but across different lines of business.
Well, the team effort was part that I think is the key to the greater part of our success. Having the ability internal to LCRA to reach out into the diverse work groups and the skills and crafts that we have across the organization is very important. That is, for instance, like when you're building a suspension bridge, you have to pull cable. for that suspension bridge. So you go to Tensco and you discuss cable pulls and you get equipment and help from folks that do it all the time.
Of course, the bridge has already been put through the ultimate stress test
Yes, we cross that bridge when we come to it.
and passed with flying colors.
Well, January marks another significant milestone in the LCRA history. It was back on January 29, 1988, when Unit 3 at the Fayette Power Project went online, making its first megawatt of power. Then later on in April, the unit went into commercial operations and was turned over to the Systems Operations Control Center for dispatch.
Okay, Walter, as of 14/17, we call Unit 3 at Seymour as released for commercial operation, turned over to SOCC.
Very good. We're ready to respond to 405 megawatt net output.
Well, I just feel like that I'm sort of riding piggyback on the work of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, and I'm so proud of them. I mean, here's a unit that's come in under budget, on time, and producing more electricity than what the folks said it would. You just can't do any better than that.
Unit 3 has had an average availability of 92.6% over the past 10 years. It also has one of the best heat rates in the industry. Combined, Fayette Units 1, 2, and 3 are a major reason that the LCRA continues to deliver low-cost, reliable electric power to the people of Central Texas.
As we continue our series of board member profiles, we'd like to introduce you to Gay Gaddis. She's a wife, mother of 3 teenagers, business owner, and now member of the LCRA Board of Directors, representing Travis County. Gay Gaddis was appointed to the board by Governor George W. Bush to complete the term of former board member Pat Oles. She brings to the board a keen business sense, and with her background in the advertising business, she has not only an awareness of the fine print, but also a feel for the big picture. This reel represents some of the award-winning work in television and print advertising of T3, the think tank, owned by Gay Gaddis. The agency started in 1989 with 3 employees.
Since then, we have grown to 42 people, and it's not just outrageous growth in 9 years. It's been very calculated growth, and it's been based a lot on matching our strengths with clients that we feel like we can really make a difference with, that we can help grow their businesses, and that's where a lot of our growth has come from clients' growth, and it's been a very good 9 years, and I've really enjoyed kind of seeing the economy change, seeing this whole market from a creative standpoint has really changed. It's been exciting.
T3 is located in this beautiful 1912 Victorian house near the UT campus in Austin.
It was converted into office space in the 70s and is a truly kind of interesting place to work. It's a real family environment. Everybody enjoys being here. It's a neat old house. This staircase was used in the best little whorehouse in Texas, and Dolly Parton came down the staircase when they filmed the movie, and they used the outside of the house for the governor's mansion in the movie.
Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency, the Governor of Texas.
So you can walk down these stairs, and you're going down the stairs that Dolly Parton went down.
It is a family affair at T3. Gay's husband Lee is also a key member of the think tank team. He's very supportive of Gay's new role at the LCRA.
Well, it's something that we kind of agonized over because it's a significant time commitment for Gay and for our family, but she was looking for an opportunity to serve and to kind of expand her horizon, so we felt like that this was a really worthwhile and good organization for her to become a part of. And since she's been in it, it's really been a rewarding experience for her and for our family.
Now that she has had a little time to settle in, Gay has begun to set her priorities as a member of the LCRA board.
I have a great deal of interest in the long-term water plan for the state of Texas, and I think it is critical that we do the right things now and that we study this and that LCRA takes a leadership role in how this will unfold for the future generations of our state. And I am very, very excited about focusing, at least in the next coming year, on issues that involve water and how we're going to take that leadership role and being as much of a help in that as I can. That's an area that I think all of the areas are important, and I certainly wouldn't want to downplay the different areas that have to be focused on and that people rely on at LCRA. But for me personally this year, I think that's a real focus that I would like to take.
And as a business owner, what has her initial reaction been to the LCRA as a company?
I've been very impressed with the staff at LCRA. I'm impressed with the information that they are giving us and the overall quality and attentiveness and expertise, professionalism. I think it's a very good group of people.
As for the new year, Gay Gaddis is drawing inspiration from a great American military figure.
General Patton said you'd be amazed at what people can do if you just tell them what the vision is and let them figure out their own way to get there. And so my resolution this year is to empower others. That word may be a little overused, but it really is an effort to give people their own legs to stand on all fronts, from my family to everyone here in the office. And certainly that's been my charge at the LCRA from our governor. He says you don't micromanage, you don't need to be down every detail, but you need to really look at the bigger issues and help others to get their job done. So I think that's a good message for all of us for the year.
It's an age-old problem for business. How do you educate and train employees in an interesting and effective way? The folks at GENCO seem to have developed just such a training tool in a very unlikely form. It's a board game. It's called Income Outcome. The idea is for teams of employees to operate their own electric utility, making all the business decisions themselves while trying to outdo their competition at the next table over.
The primary purpose of the game is not to make people accountants or bean counters. It's to help them have an understanding of the bigger picture of the generation business and for them to have a greater understanding of where they fit into it and how decisions are made and the impact that those decisions have not only on the people but on the business as well.
The game was developed by Andromeda Training of North Carolina, and LCRA employees helped adapt it to simulate a public power company like LCRA, specifically the GENCO line of business.
Most times we stand up and lecture and put out some notes and expect everybody to comprehend it. And what really excites me about this is the fact that it's an interactive deal. You actually participate, you learn as you participate, you're fully engaged, and it's really fun. It's a fun learning experience.
Everything that's in green represents assets. So in this case we have cash, receivables, reserves for capital improvements. We have a coal plant, a gas storage facility, and coal inventory. So we have stack out, reclaim, and boiler. Then the red represents liabilities, and so here we have debt, and this would represent the bonds that are issued.
The game involves realistic situations such as unplanned outages, volatile fuel prices, and customer demands. The two-day session gets very competitive, and teams often don't want to stop when the game is over.
Basically in this game, you are the owner of the power plant. You make the decisions as to what happens in that power plant, whether you want to upgrade, increase capacity, increase efficiency. You can even build a brand new power plant, and you have to keep in mind your debt service. You know, you're always conscious of how much you owe, and so you're trying to make the best decisions for your company.
I think they take away a better understanding of how we as LCRA, specifically GENCO, operate because the game has been customized more to our day-to-day operations within GENCO rather than just the generic financial concepts. And so they see that on a day-to-day basis of how we actually make our decisions and how they impact us, and they can go, oh, well, okay, this is how it's shown on the board. Yeah, we really do this. We really do have short-term outages. We really do have planned outages, and here's the impact of that. So they're seeing real world in a financial concept.
And the market's now open. Do we have any orders for 7L, the long-term order on 7L? Uncontested. Bestco gets it at 40.
Teams try to position their utility for long-term growth while having the generating capacity to meet electrical demand and to be able to give something back to the people they serve.
It teaches us not only about generation and markets and how to get our power to those markets and bid for it, but it also teaches us about community service and the fact that LCRA is a huge contributor in our community. And so we're trying to tie all of that back together within the lines of business and relate it to LCRA. That's why the thing is so well designed to meet our needs as LCRA.
Plans call for all GENCO employees, approximately 500 people, to attend one of these training sessions in the next 2 years.
In the February edition of the LCRA News, read about the LCRA's continuing commitment to protecting the environment and find out what interesting hobbies some of your fellow employees have, and read about the LCRA's popular website on the internet.
Well, that's it for this edition of Wavelength. Look forward to seeing you again next time.